Hey guys, welcome back to another flashlight review. Today we're going to be looking at the Fenix PD35 V3. It's the third version of this flashlight. It's been out for a while now, but initially I think this light came out about 10 years ago, and there's been different iterations, different upgrades along the way. And I've used this light for a couple of weeks now, and I wanted to share with you my thoughts about this light, especially if you're in the market looking for a tactical flashlight. This video is going to be very helpful for you. And this was sent to me by lightshop.com.au in Australia. So if you are based over here and you're looking for a flashlight, they definitely have a really large range of lights at reasonable prices. So I've left the link in the description if you want to check them out. So there are tons of SFT40 lights out there, non-tactical ones. There's tactical ones as well, like this one. So it's definitely no shortage, but I really wanted to get hold of the PD35 because this is one of the original ones that I read about online. It's funny that I only got hold of it now, but it's a beautiful looking flashlight, roughly the size of the Convoy S2 Plus, but a little bit longer due to the tail cap. Probably ends about there on the S2 Plus. And this light has been in production for about 10 years. Tons of improvements and LED upgrades along the way. It's something that I like about Fenix as well. They seem to always upgrade their lights after a new LED comes out. This is the version 3.0. And, the PD35 costs several times the price of a Convoy S2, or if we're looking at some of the budget tactical flashlights as well, the Workhorse FC12 that I have at home. I've got a couple of them, same emitter, SFT40. But what you have to remember when you're purchasing a light like this is that you're also getting a very high quality product, a reliable light that will perform to factory specifications. So this is what you get in the box, and you get a nice little instruction manual. And I like that these Fenix instruction manuals are just so simple. I mean, you've got this page here and the second page underneath that just goes through specifications. Okay, pretty simple. The rest of it's just all translated. You got a warranty card as well here. And the great thing about Fenix is that they offer a 5-year free repair warranty. Okay, so that means that if anything breaks within the 5 years, they'll replace it free of charge, fix it up. However, the battery only has a 1-year warranty on it. But more impressive is that they have this lifetime warranty as well in here, limited lifetime warranty. So if the light breaks or needs to be repaired after 5 years, Fenix will charge for the parts, but they won't charge for the actual repairs. So that's really good to know that Fenix have confidence in their products, and that you're not left in the lurch if something goes wrong within 5 years or even after the 5 years. They're a company that have been around for a very long time as well, with good reviews. Here's a few other things you get in the box: USB-C charging cable here. You also get a spare O-ring, couple of spare O-rings, and also the lanyard in there, and a nice little holster. I really like this holster, and I'll just show you it up close. Really good quality. Okay, and it's the same sort of size as the light itself. I mean, the light is quite thin and compact. Got that same type of styling there on the holster. I don't really use these myself, but especially if you're in a profession where you're going to be carrying that light on you all the time, it's really good that Fenix have included that. So here are a bunch of other 18650 flashlights compared to the Fenix PD35. They're all kind of similar size. I think the big difference is with the bezel, especially with these here, the MH12SE, which is basically, it's a 21700 cell light, but it does take 18650s as well. Defender, Acebeam Defender P16 as well. It's got a larger head with a Convoy M2. Okay, but you've got lights like the Workhorse FC12, and it's very similar in size, as you can see. It is a little bit shorter than the FC12, and like I said before, with the Convoy S2, also very similar diameter, it's just a bit longer. I still carry the FC12 on me with an 18350 battery tube. And even with this one, where I used to carry around the whole light with the 18650, it's good to see that the PD35 is an excellent replacement, can interchange them, not feel any difference there in the pocket. I do feel a difference when I carry around this one here, the MH12SE versus the FC12 and the PD35. It's just a little bit chunkier around the battery tube and around the head, and yeah, you do feel it even though it's only a few millimeters or so. Okay, so a bit of a closer up. Just wanted to show you what this looks like more zoomed in, because especially up this close, if there's any imperfections, it's something that is immediately noticeable, and it's just incredible. There's not even a nick. These tiny little detailings on the tail cap, I love that. And like this repeating patterns, the circle and the line kind of thing here. You've got this battery tube and this fine knurling there. The logo and the branding lines up nicely with the button, and also the little symbol, the hot symbol at the top. That's something, for some reason, that can bug me at times. And Fenix do go for a more conservative and classic design for their flashlights in comparison to Nitecore, sort of stick themselves out there a bit, try to add a more aggressive knurling or push that emitter a little bit more. Fenix tend to go for more classic design, like I mentioned, and generally more reliability seems to be their focus. It's interesting because I also have the PD36R Pro, and it's really quite similar. The knurling, everything here, the tail cap design, very similar, even the head. The only difference is the button here, as you can see. Really nice sort of button. It's made of aluminium. In the center, there's an LED. When you turn on the light, it actually flashes off. You can see it there. Tells you what the battery level is. You've got a nice brass ring there as well, which is a great addition. These little details, even the clip on the back of the light is made of some kind of high tensile steel. Okay, I've noticed a difference between some of my other budget lights, especially the clips tend to be a little bit flimsy. Got it clipped onto my pocket and pull it out sometimes, and the clip will detach itself, but not really. I don't see that happening with this clip. And I really like how the bezel is almost the same size, same diameter as the battery tube. Makes the light look more sleek, feels more balanced, especially takes up less space in your pocket. And you do find that with lights with the bigger heads tend to be weighted a little bit more towards the front, and in your pocket they just get a little bit annoying as they take up more room in the bottom of the pocket and just sit a little bit funny, whereas this one sits sort of nice and flush all the way. The bezel, as you can see, is slightly crenulated. Just run my finger along these little grooves. They're not sharp at all, but you can use this to break window, no problems at all. But they don't have those sort of sharper bits on the edge, and some lights do have these glass breaking beads as well, and that can be good, but it's also can be a disadvantage if you're trying to get it through security or on a plane or something like that. They'll confiscate it off you if they see it posing a risk. Tail switch, pretty large and easy to locate. You're definitely not going to mistake that for anything else. There's nothing else on the back. But yeah, like I mentioned, I really like this side switch here, this aluminium side switch. Even the machining of this little circular machining on the switch itself. I mean, that would have taken a little bit of work to do. They didn't have to do that. But when you have lights that have this sort of attention to detail in it, you know that everything else is going to be fine. So this is what the PD35 looks underneath the bezel. And you got that SFT40 emitter paired with a shallow, smooth reflector. I think the SFT40 is a great choice for this host. You'd either want one of those or an Osram W2 in here, just due to the smaller body, less heat sinking. And you've also got AR, anti-reflective glass lens here in the front. And I really like that the bezel is only 25 millimeters. Like I mentioned before, it's truly pocketable tactical flashlight. I'm not a big fan of holsters as well. Just feel like I look funny wearing those out in public, where I've really got no business carrying one around. And I did mention the Nitecore MH12 SE as well, that I've been carrying around with me quite often lately. And it's been good, but still a little bit uncomfortable sometimes in the jeans depending on how I'm sitting. So I've been using this one, carrying this one around with me, and it's definitely a big difference. Can't really feel this in the pocket, and just sits a little bit looser in there, easier to carry around, and has the same emitter, pretty similar throw as well. The light accepts an 18650 cell, comes with a proprietary cell, but non-proprietaries work as well. I used a Samsung 30Q in there. That's actually a flat top, and was surprised that it worked fine. Still was able to make contact without any flickering or anything like that. But yeah, this is the one that it comes with, 2600 milliamp cell. It's micro USB, surprisingly. Would like to see Fenix switch over to USB-C. These little ports, I don't think that they're as durable. Another great thing about the PD35 is that it also works with 3.2 volt 16340 cells, and also your CR123 primaries. So it's definitely a bonus, especially if you're worried about running out of juice on you. There's no onboard charging on this flashlight, as you can see, which is probably going to aid in water resistance, but you're going to need a cell that can be charged via USB or have an external charger. I want to go through the UI, just show you a little bit of how the light works. Now, the light's it's a very simple UI, really, and it memorizes the last mode that you've put it in. So really, I've just clicked that back button fully, okay, and that's on the turbo mode, okay, but I have it on. You can half press it as well to just access momentary mode. So you just sort of half press the button. When you full press it, basically to switch modes, you just press this side switch. Okay, that back button has to be on for this side switch to work. It will not work if you try to turn the light on or activate it straight up using the side switch first. So there's 5 modes: eco, low, medium, high, and then turbo, and then it just goes back down. So if I have it on the eco mode, turn off the light, turn it back on, it memorizes that last eco mode. If you want to access strobe, you just basically press and hold that button. So there is no access to one-step strobe. It does not memorize the strobe, only memorizes the other 5 modes on there. There's only one switch on the back. So let's talk a little bit about performance. And I have a ceiling bounce test here, ran the light on turbo, and I was really impressed that it lasted 2 minutes on turbo, pretty much within 95 to 100% output, all the way to 2 minutes. It starts ramping down at that point, 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes to about 60%. Okay, it sort of has this up and down, this zigzaggy pattern where the light ramps up and down very, very slowly. I mean, I can't even tell the difference. It's probably only a few percent here or there, but yeah, basically slowly ramps down up to about just above the 50% mark. So from about 10 minutes on, you're looking about 50 to 60% of output. I activated turbo again at around 23 minutes just by turning off and then on the light. It immediately picks up that it's hot and starts ramping down straight away. This is another ceiling bounce test that I ran with the PD35 on high, which is the 4th setting, 4th out of 5 setting. And look at that really impressive runtime there. Sustained lumens starts off on 100% and around the 12.5 to 13 minute mark. It does ramp down very, very slightly, probably to about 95%, but it goes up and down in order to maintain that output. But for all practical purposes, it pretty much maintains its output past the 30-minute mark. I ended the test after that point, but that's really quite impressive on high, especially if you're using this light for long durations. Medium or high will probably be the mode that you're using the most. I also did some tests on my Opal Light Master Pro, and these are figures that are just on switch on, so they're probably slightly higher than the Fenix specifications because they take them at the 30-second mark. And you can see here turbo 364 meters on switch on, So the official rating on turbo was 357 meters. You've got high 217 meters, medium 111 meters, low 64, eco 20 meters. I also ran a couple of other tests here. You can see the color rendering index between 64 to 69. No surprises there. This is a tactical light designed for visibility, not for color recognition. And the CCT, as you can see, ranges from 5,900 to 6,500 and has a similar sort of pattern. As you increase power to the LED, the CCT also increases up until 6,500, becomes cooler. The PD35 version 3 is rated at 1700 lumens, produces a really intense hotspot and combined with plenty of spill. I really like how the hotspot is not as small as my Nitecore MH12 SE. It's more concentrated on that other light. On the PD35, hotspot's larger and more practical for illuminating a larger area, but still throws over 350 meters. Some considerations you want to keep in mind if you are purchasing this light. There's no onboard charging, but the light does have the included 2600 milliamp hour cell, like I mentioned before, USB, micro USB charging. It would have been ideal to have a 3000 or 3500 milliamp hour cell to get some extra runtime out of this light, and also perhaps USB-C charging on the cell. Another thing to keep in mind is that this light does get hot in turbo, and it will step down a bit later, but you can always switch it back to the high mode if it gets too hot. I personally like the extended output in turbo, and I noticed that many tactical lights step down either immediately or at the 30-second mark. So it's good to have that option if I need to run turbo for a little bit longer, and especially because I ran the test without holding the light. When you're holding the light, it tends to absorb some of the heat, doesn't get too hot as well. So yeah, it's good to just know that I have that available if I need it. Overall, I'm really impressed with the Fenix PD35. It's a truly pocketable tactical flashlight that has a balance of throw and flood. The sustained lumens on turbo, quite impressive given the size of the light. And yeah, the quality, attention to detail, that's something that really stood out to me on this light. Everything feels so well machined and fits together perfectly. So if you're in Australia and interested in this light, check out lightshop.com.au. Like I mentioned before, they sent me this light and they have a really large range of flashlights, really the largest range I've seen over here at competitive prices. I've mainly dealt with Adam and found him and his team to be very helpful and professional. So I've left a link in the description if you want to find out more. If you have any questions about this light, let me know in the comments and I'll get back to you. I've probably missed out a thing or two here or there. I'll always get back to you and give you a hand. Finally, if you like this video, do me a favor and click that like button because it helps me get the video out to more people. And if you want to see me make more flashlight reviews, make sure you subscribe. Okay, I've got the Fenix PD35 version 3.0 and I'm going to put it straight onto turbo. Let's see how far this thing can throw with the SFT 40. Wow, beautiful beam, and lots of very easily reaching the back and to the other side of this oval. See this hitting those goalposts there. I wonder when it's gonna kind of ramp down. And I'm actually impressed with how much flood this produces as well. Lots of usable flood. Smooth sort of transition from the middle spot to the flood as well. Turn it off, back on again. You can activate that tactical mode as you can see. Okay, like that. Okay, let's just go into the other modes. Let's see how it handles the other modes through the side switch. Okay, lowest mode, it's almost, you can't really see it on camera with the naked eye, it's fine. Second mode, okay, not bad.
third mode. Okay, that's the medium mode. Fourth. So this would probably be the mode that you'd use most often rather than just the turbo mode. So I mean, it's getting to the end and illuminating everything quite well still. Look at that. And one more turbo. Actually surprised how long it's holding up on turbo. The head's getting a little warm, slightly warm, but it's actually handling it quite well. It's not ramping down. You can't really see it ramp down visibly. Surprised, given usually SFT40 does produce a significant amount of heat. Wow. Very impressed. 5, again, back onto turbo. I like that you can access turbo straight from the half press as well. You can access any other mode from the half press as long as you put it into that mode prior to turning it off. Okay. And I'll just show you that high mode again. Oops. Wait for, oops. That's the high mode. So, very decent amount of light from that. Obviously it's not as bright as the turbo mode, but it's a usable, very usable mode that's certainly bright enough for most purposes, especially if you're turning it on, using it for a long period of time. Alright, I've got the PD35 version 3. This is on turbo mode. Quite easily really reaching to the back of this clearing. Okay. Stabilizing it a little bit. I can cycle through the different modes. You can't really see that one. 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the highest mode. Really easily reaching the back. Nice round hotspot, and fairly large hotspot as well, considering that it's a throwy kind of beam. Let's go to the high mode. That's the high mode, and still you've got really so much flood here in the ground and visibility up into the clearing, the trees out there in the back. It doesn't reach all the way through the center there. Okay, you're gonna need a bit more on that turbo to get there, but it's pretty good performance. High mode again. Okay. Turbo. High. So look what's here on the left. Another tree. And turbo. You can access the tactical mode on turbo as well, as you can see.